future. So this is new series to me, the future. And let's begin with firstly the referendum of California has finally made. So California made himself a republic, and I don't make real borders here. I make two better borders of countries on Americans because that's two straits. So better ones. And what the Mexican California did, they made themselves a referendum too. And what they did, joined the California. Finally, California is happy because he is free. And now let's move on to the Russia thingy. Russia, you're still in war with Ukraine, so we must end this so easily. Now, thankfully, the support of Ukraine. Ukraine started to push Russia really far back. They are making a push closer to Crimea. Even pushing the Russians really far out. Now, thankfully, the Europeans big supports. He started to use them really much. Ukraine seems have chance to win the war, but Russia started to be scared and made the every Russian in the Russia must be going war. So that's issue on Russians. Now Russians already hate the idea. They see uh, the Ukraine be stronger and they want to already end the war. Now Russia seems to be an issue. They are really far pushing those Ukraine's lands back. Do the Ukraine manage to get fully his lands back? Now Russia seems be in issue. Ukraine managed to start push in the Russia. So this is issue on Russians. They have to do now offense and size. Now they thank the USA. Ukraine managed to get even pushes this side. The Americas helped the Ukraine goes going to here. Now we see even further. The Ukrainians start push now so much to they had planned to capture Moscow, what is here, and they start moving closer to Moscow. Now they are making a big push there. Now, what Russians did, they planned to circle the Ukrainians, but Ukrainians did the thing on them, and Ukraine started move around the Moscow and captures that. Now, thankfully, the Estonia he supported the Ukraine too, and he allowed Ukraine enter with them too. Now, Saint Petersburg is all, too captured, and further pushes are made in this way. Now, Russia seems to be in issue. They are losing so much already. Do the Russians had no chance to surrender, and that's peaceful the time. Ukraine, you're a lucky guy. You didn't lose any lands, but you gained land. So that's better to yours. With those lands, you can do whatever you want. And for you, you managed to get even in the NATO. So that's more better. And with Russia lost by the allies too, who supported the Ukraine, the allies managed to get some lands too. Estonia even got Petersburg. Okay. Latvia, you got that. Okay, let's give Estonia a little bit more. Oops, I didn't mean that. Even Finland managed to get something of Russians. Only a little bit. They didn't want really big part. They said small part is enough for Finnish, and everyone agreed that the Finland should be get a little bit there. Now, Japan, you managed to get the island, the fully yours, and even lands here. So Japan is that. Now, let's move on to Georgia. You got little bit land bags, and Azerbaijan you do. So you got both got something. Now with Kaliningrad, you're big at that half, half getting Poland and half to the Lithuania. And even further version news on Russia, he have to give Karelia his own republic. And the Americans, you got little bit of Russian too, and those lands. The other side of Alaska is yours too, now America. And Russia, You have to be now Republican or America will show you revenges. So now we see this thing happened. Russia is ritually made versatile looking, and the Estonians are really saying they are best of looking that. Now, what they did, the China did, they they want the one thing happened that equals Taiwan losing. Now it made really issue Taiwan's little allies join us to help him. Even Japan, what equals South Korea, and what equals North Korea to Chinese. So let's begin. Landings are made by Chinese already on Taiwan, but Taiwan military pushed back already, and Philippines and Vienna you may want to do similar thing to China. You push it on this island and already capturing full access on that island. Now the America supports the blue team. China, you secretly support the red team, but your powers are not enough to the words. Now by Americans pushing to we see South Korea making giant pushes to North Korea, and Taiwan's literally gained this thing on Chinese. Now we see even the Tibet want his republic, so he is even Tibet to making his republic again. It is making Chinese really in big issue. Tibet had mostly nice borders, making them. Now we see Chinese literally losing everything. Americans made landing here, planning to capture Beijing, what is here, and they managed to land here too. Now all the Chinese army around the Chinese managed to get into Beijing and planning to get closer to Americans. But what with that time the others do? They see that as chance. Now Hong Kong managed to get his Republican going to and pushing too. They may start the push really nicely. Taiwan managed to get border with Hong Kong and making pushes with them. Now Japan sent South Korea managed to capture the North Korea capital and Chinese doesn't really come to help them, so they had no chance to surrender because Chinese didn't come. They planned to secure the pensioning. What they really did, they want circumvent make, but Americans made them circle and making those even further doable. And they they planned to retry that, but Americans did again circle. That made Chinese really big issue in. And with all the time the Tibet, I forgot you want your republic, and with all the time you managed to get that. Now, what India did, he supported Tibet finally. He even got in the war, and with India being in war, the Pakistan joined the war to make India to not here, and the Pakistans had to push already by Indians. Pakistan's did, the Chinese didn't come to help them, so they seem to be in really big issue by Indians. They even planned to go to the the Pakistan capital and capture that. And Chinese army started going in the Pakistan to the Pakistan surrendered because Chinese didn't come to help them. Now, what others still did, they entered the Chinese. Now we see really much push made by South countries, and Japan landed here too, and making push to closer Taiwan beyond making push to north. That's really nice too, because Chinese have only cities on the coast line, so that's easy to the countries. And I talk about the important cities. Some are already captured by those countries, but if we go even norther, it is some still staying, and Americans did that. Again, Chinese planned to make circle them, but Americans made them circle, and they even managed to get so close to Beijing, uh, only one kilometer away to the Beijing. Now others start pushing even further, and Japan and South Korea managed to get in Chinese too. So it is only with Chinese that problem. Now we see the South Korea even getting closer to the Americans. They want to get close because they want to support them too. And Japanese and South Koreans managed to get too close to Americans too. Now, what they they did that, and Chinese planned to make another circumvent, but they managed to get again circled, and with that They hit another push by Americans. They tried another time circle, but they really lost so many armies and managed to get circle to Pensioning, and Pensioning is captured already. Now, what Chinese armies did, what they planned to get close to Pensioning but didn't get there. They want invade back this side, but due to the issues, they are circled, and Chinese didn't have any more army people left, so he forced the normal peoples to fight to the government name. But after some time, people thought the other side is stronger and started mass the Chinese and want the end of war. They see really big pushes made already to the all the coast is lost there to Chinese, and Chinese surrendered. Now with borders, let's do borders. Courage, Tibet, you managed to get yourself as republic again. Tibet, you're really happy because you're well republic and democratic system in. And what India did managed to get you be his ally, best ally, and with India gained some lands. He gains some Pakistan too. Now Pakistan is that, and India, you are really something. And with Pakistan, they said unite with Afghanistan. They said Americans, the Afghanistan is really stable country, but it isn't. That's punishment to on the Pakistan. So right now, let me paint those Indian borders in. Now India is done. Let's go to Vietnam. Your borders has expanded to be like that. Now let me paint those borders in. Now those are painted in. Philippines. You managed to get the Chinese pulled the islands on the sea, Chinese sea. So you managed to get some islands. What is really over those places. But they are not really much there. Now with Hong Kong, you managed to get that. Now with South Korea, you managed to get little bit of North Korea, and North Korea had to annex little bit Chinese too to survive. And what Chinese did, they didn't support anymore the North Korea too, and Japan's you little bit they get on Chinese too. Now Chinese see global issue. They had to do something, but they can't. And Taiwan, you managed to get fully this thing, but it's really big. Now we see those changes, and with Chinese, they can stay neutral, but they lost really some important allies. Pakistan and North Korea aren't now anymore them allies. Pakistan is now united with Afghanistan. North Korea is now just neutral, and Mongolia, you didn't like really the Chinese. But Chinese, you're so lucky you could keep your capital still. But mostly you lost major cities. And what seeable is this thing. Now let's go with the Antarctica. Countries seeable see that and they started to annex that finally. Chile annexed that. Argentina this leg only. Now Brazil, you annex that this. Australia, you annexed this. New Zealand, you annexed a little bit here and a little bit this side. Now South Africa, you annexed that. Now Madagascar, you annexed this thing. Now Indians, you annexed that. And Iran, you annexed a little bit here too. And France, you annexed this thing. German, you this. Spain, let's give you a little bit here too. You annex that. Now Baltics, you annex that little bit too, because you want it to be on the Antarctic too. And Egypt, what you did, you annex that. And finally Italy, you annexed this thing. Now you see Antarctic fully shaped up on the borders. So countries are shared fully. This thing, America, You have allies on Antarctic, but you didn't really like to go there. That's too cold for you. But what? Still, mm, you got Italy gave it you still lands. So, courage, you got still lands there. Now, to the Belarus. You want really unite now with Russia, but you are fully uh, close to surrounded by the other Europeans. So, what you did? You planned to with Russia war and to side Russia, but this thing now we see America's supports managed to get already in. You captured the Minsky and already Russia quitted war and you lost. So what they did now seems like you lost so many lands, but you didn't lost capital, the Belarus, and you had to join the European and NATO duo. Now, what next will happen? We finally can see the Baltics agreed to unite and call the capital state the Estonia, with Petseri to be capital city. Now we see fully Baltic here. Now what Turkey did, they want expand and make themselves as empire again, but they have nowhere to go. So they chose to war Syria, but managed to get Iraq in, what managed to get Iran in. So it is the Arabian War. They managed to get, they managed to make the Arabian War. Cyprus, you shouldn't team. Greece, you do. Even you, if you hate Turkey, you're with him in NATO. So that's the most needed thing. Now, let's start it. South Arabia managed to push in already Iraq and Turkey. You push it here. You start the push southward and managed to get in Iran. Now, what happened? Seems like Georgia, Azerbaijan joined war. What made Armenia join war? And Armenia, what happened? You had already pushed it in. And Iran, you're really big issue already because your capital is on this is in this region. So it is issue. Now America support the red team and the red team managed to get Iran capital, but they didn't surrender so easily. they still have Iraq, the capital too, what is in this region, but not so long time. This is captured too. So one out of the time started surrender. Finally, we see fully lost of them and new borders. Now we can paint those borders in Kuwaiti. You got that. What Arabia did manage to get is interesting. Now this is Arabians and this is Arabians. Now what Turkey did, they did what they really want, expand, and little bit of those stations too. Azerbaijan, you managed to get in NATO too, and Georgia, you do. You're in NATO. Now let me paint those in. We see the really much made. Now Italy, you are now not Italy, Greece. You are now with Cyprus united. And what now? We see Israel managed to get so much land now. They managed to get doable going to north. And Egypt, you still beat that. No, Jordan, you beat that. Now, I don't still like the Arabia looking. Let me fix that. Now Saudi Arabia called himself now just Arabia. And little bit annexed it on the Afghanistan too. Afghanistan is still not the to normal country. It don't be stable still. But Iran, you had issue. You have to be now American ally, and you be now that. or Americans will come and start to making wars and more in you. Now I will cut those little guys who managed to get a little bit lands on Iran too. Now Iran, you are shaped versus. You managed to unite with Iraq, but that's issue. And what happened more? You managed to get two capitals. Iraq have the capital and Iran have capital. So two of them. And what happened next is really interesting. The United the Central Americans. Them uniting is really interesting because it could be neutral uniting, but they have some issues too. One side, one country likes America, one don't. That's the issue. And what the Central America did, they bought lands of the Mexico, so they could be a little bit better borders. Of course, Italy, not Italy, Mexico first didn't like that, but they had to agree that. Now, what America did, he united with Canadian, finally united Canada. So if you're American, you might now get in the Canada too. And now let's get to now Americans are this thing and little bit on Asia too. Now what happened next? California passed Hawaii because that's closer to them than Americans. They have to get those Americans in like Floridans here to take to the Alaska to get in Hawaii. So that's really far. What now they can do? They just can go in the California to get in the Hawaii. That's better goal. Now, what Texas did, he didn't like to be united now. He want his republic too, and made him manifest too. What Mexico did, he sees Republic, California, and Texas now. He claimed war on them, and that's what America says is war on him. So we have issue on their Americans and Californians and Texans start push back to Mexico. and Florida made landing here, captured the Mexico City already. So surrender. And Americans and Texans and the Californians agreed to reunite all as one because if they are one, they are better. They supported each other. But America agreed if they wanna be freed, they can be. So it is interesting on them. Let me paint the new borders in right now. Now it's easier still go to Hawaii. Americans own still Hawaii. And with Mexico losing lands to Americans really much too. They have nowhere to go. And what Cuba did, he solved the war and thinked America still don't come. So he made war to those guys. But little thing he knowed, Americas are already coming in. Now already Cuba lost. And let's see what happened with Cuba. He is fully now American. He is state of America now, and that made America have 100 states now. And Bahamas joined America too to be a state. That's now 100 states of America with this beyond state too. Now, what happened now? Russia, you had issue with the one side here. We see it, some people don't like the Russia right now and started Asians show the power on Russia. They said Russia should be better place. Americans really didn't care about that and didn't come help to Russia. Russia have to fight with his people. Now Russia did that, fight with people, but they really had issue. They used all the army on Ukraine war, so they are really weak. Like if we see Vatican, he can really fight with Russians. Now we see much further goes the Russia issue. To the Russia agreed finally it is enough and agreed to give those guys independent. And finally, they are agreed to be that. And now we see the Asia side Russia, what is Siberian, and the European side Russia, what is the NATO, not NATO, Russia, just Russia. Russia's just joined the NATO and EU too, because he hoped this helps. He had no other chances. Now Siberia is really strong. He managed to make himself as stronger and stronger. Second strongest country is Siberia already. Now, what Siberia did, he made war to Kazakhstan and even got further to get all the Central Asians in and already captured the capital. And they made Kazakhstan really easily the last war and even captured the Kyrgyzstan the capital already and Uzbekistan capital. So it is a really big issue. Kyrgyzstan, your capital is last too. Now even Dagestan, your capital too. So it is issue. Those countries are already lost. So what happened with them? Seems like the power made them lose, and we see this thing shaped up to be the Siberians. Siberia just want that be them's. Now with Siberia next this thing, we see even the nukes have been updated to be more stronger. Nukes can be make more bigger blow ups, and that idea was managed to get in Chinese, but those nukes has been to taken away by the Americans. Now Chinese have to be American ally too, and what goes further, we see even the new government warming up. That's right, new government. The Baltic states has been on voting who could be the minister of the country. This side voted to be the Saur, my one friend Saur, and this side voted that could be maybe the show mama. That's just joke on them. That guy just got himself show mama, and we see even south side of in the Baltic voted to me be the minister, and now we see it managed to get more and more be in there. Of course, me like it started getting to Riga and even Shomama Lakers got managed to get even further. Even Sour Lakers got further, but me Lakers already got Sour Lakers off, and we made even further doable. We managed to get more voted by the country, and finally I got the minister spot. I am now new minister of the Baltic state. Of course, I live in Estonia, so that's good because now I am minister of there. Oops, I didn't mean to get in the Baltic. Now, Shomama really said that's the worst thing happened to me, and Russia finally got agreed he could join the NATO and the EU if he gave Belarus little bit lands, and he gave it. Now they said you are welcome. Now what Siberia did, he purchased little bit lands of Chinese. Now what next happened? We see here parchment and even further. This is what Russians says that's them. Chinese says that's them. This issue is really big in them. Now, what Mongolia did, he joined the Siberia. I forgot that Siberia. Now, that made Siberia even more stronger, and Siberia managed to buy even this part. And you guys probably remember the Shomama. He got the minister part of Siberia now. So he is in minister this. So ma, ma. This is your mama's minister spot. Huh? I just found out that you can press C to change the tool. Interesting. Okay, let's move on. Now we see one thing what Africans had. Some uniting thing is going on, and Angola is really happy to be bigger, but not so long. This is now free country, but he got still more lands. Now we see even those countries uniting to warm the coastline country. Now, even we see one United States be warmed on Africans. That's really interesting. They never had the United States on Africa. Now, with right now America, you had little bit issues on those things. So both sides agreed, Canada and America. That's better if they are not the one country. But what America did, he managed to get still more land than Canadians. So Canadians had to be like forcer and this island is and the other two. And with this land, this is now shaped new states. Those are states there. And America still had 100 stages because he made choice to set stages smaller. And Greenland is now American state too. But Denmark really don't they did it like that. But after the Americans people got in there and their Greenlands managed to get their vote, which should be best, they Americans voted America, and now we need to see the full Greenland, the Americans. Now we can go to West Sahara, but managed to break up with Morocco. It is now on fully sized country, and of course it made the Morocco made war, and West Saharans see that and pushed even norther, and we see it the West Saharans pushing so much already to north. Morocco see that the issue and surrendered. Now, what West Sahara did, he take some land of Morocco and made Morocco states say if they wanna, they have to get the republic to do about. And Morocco states said, "You're right. We have to be in this so long." Now Morocco had issues. First to break it up is this, then this, then this, and then this. And Morocco has to be this thing. Now, finally, Morocco had one breakup too, and this joined West Sahara. And what West Sahara did, he want the borders don't be so straight anymore. So he purchased some lands of other countries around him, and he don't have to be anymore the straightest line country. Now we can see the West Sahara be bigger than Morocco had to be, and what those others did. They said that Morocco had to join the West Sahara, and finally we see that happened. And now we see other thing happen. Egypt, you want to be empire, so you're making war to neighbors and push already in neighbors. Oops, managed to get already this by your RBs, but south is literally desert on there, so you have only to do coastline on this liberty. Now you finally managed to get full coastline and surrender this. Now what you did here is interesting. You just want only this, and both agreed that's enough, and agreed has made. Both sides agreed to that, and they changed ritual borders. Both sides agreed it is nice to make the Egypt as empire, and Egypt had happy to make that the agreement. Now we can paint those back in who could be neutrals, and Egypt, you managed to get yourself as empire. Now Egypt have no longer the straightest line in the world. Egypt isn't anymore the straightest line country. He is no longer using the only straight lines. He have more better lines. And we see even Echenia making himself as republic. I just made this up. But Egypt still says he's empire because he owns this thing. This is so big. So he says that's yeah, could be Echenia there. And both sides agreed Echenia is republic. And we see even North Cyprus has agreed to be republic, democratic, and South is democratic too. So both are allies. Now we see two Cyprus is in the European Union. Now finally with Moldova you managed to get in European Union too at NATO. But issue on this thing, the Serbia, you had to be fall up. And what happened with you? Falling yourself, managed to get others neighbors getting lands too. Neighbors getting land equals Yupitam, Serbia. Now, Serbia, you fully be lost really much lands. You are only testing Serbia, but is already annexed by Romania, so you doesn't exist anymore, Serbia. Now, Italy managed to make something with San Marino and Vatican. They united, and Monaco united with France. Andorra united with Spain. Now, you see what happened is Catalonia managed to get himself as republic overall. Now, Scotland, you do. You managed to get yourself republic. Now, we can see some new drinks all global. And Sweden, you had one republic issue too. And Sweden, you are this now. And this is republic. And this is cut in half. And what Denmark had, you'd think it to go Norway, but Norway beat stronger and managed to get a little bit of yours. And Sherman, you partial little bit Norway's too. So Norway, you're really weak now. Now Sherman had one Republican too. And we see even the newest Yugoslavia warming up. But democratic Yugoslavia. This said it is never be like a real Yugoslavia. And we see the Switzerland had finally agreed to join NATO and the EU. And we see Europa have no longer microstates, but only this island is microstate now. But has to made themselves no longer be microstate. Everyone agreed that should be not microstate if that's in EU. And this isn't anymore. And Denmark, you managed to get your lands back in the Norway side, but not the Sheriff side. So this is issue on you. Now we see those borders are suspicious. And what we see Americans change, we see Chile, you you got a little bit of Argentina's and your way you do. So this is now yours. And this isn't war because the Americans say the South American states they have never they had not long time changed the borders, so they agreed to change that. So we see change the borders getting thing. And one republic on the, the jungle of Arizona be made up. Now we see eventually more getting lands. Of course, this guy wants to get this thing back, and now he wants to get this thing too. So he have more to hate Chile, and Chile you got even Bermuda's things. No, not Bermuda. Bermuda is this thing. Peru things. And Argentina, you quitted Antarctic too. Now we see even those trees uniting. And French Guyana managed to get to long time back to Republic too. Now we can paint this for the and even this changed. And little bit here to Central America managed to get little bit land. Now we see another republic has formed up, and Ecuador you managed to get this thing too. But only if this island be republic, and they agreed that. Now we see those borders are changed up, and with Australian you had issues too. What made yourself falling apart? So we see some new nations on Australia, but should be not there. And Indonesia, you gave a distinct republic too, because you didn't like this anymore. And Indonesia, you gave it another republic. And uh, yeah, you gave a little bit land to this guy too. And with Myanmar, you can have little bit better leg. Now you can have this to Myanmar and India. You did that too, for sure. And we see one republic managed to get two in this series. And South Sudan, you had one republic managed to get into. And We see even Sicily managed to get a republic a little bit in Italy too. And we see little bit here too, making the republicans. And Morocco is still in republicans full of. West Sahara is this thing. And maybe next year is the West Sahara is uniting. But this series we see even further going on. We see even North Ireland uniting with Ireland and little bits they take Scotland, even getting even Wales get Republic, even somehow Cornwall, and we see even Belgium cut half. Now we see distinct Republic on Shermans, and this is now words to this series. Next time we do more, but this is Zen for this day, and bye. We see you next week this series. Bye.